Red Rising. I didn't know what I was getting in with this one. I had a vague notion that it was YA, but I didn't know for sure. And it kind of is. That's kind of a tricky. I know that there's already like a big kerfuffle about like what is IA and what's not, what's YA and what's not. And I'm not sure about this. I mean, they're young. There's a Hunger Games-esque plot, but there's some, there's some deep themes. There's some fucked up shit. You know what? That's probably what makes it not YA. There are no fucks. There's no on-screen penis. No fucks. They say shit. They don't say the C word. I won't say that. I don't know if this has a genre, like arena YA or something. The only other one of like, if this is a genre, the only one I've ever read before this was the Hunger Games series, like literally 10 years ago, which I enjoyed a lot. But I mean, I was fucking like 15. Even as I had started reading it, I didn't know that it fit into that genre because I don't know, I couldn't place it when I started reading it. And I didn't read the back of the book, thank God. I read it afterwards. I was like, why the fuck would they literally like spoil all the twists? I guess I am right now too, by explaining the plot. That's okay. Just like Hunger Games and Divergent, whatever. This is a post-apocalyptic landscape where a huge like governmental body rules and they make people compete for whatever bullshit. But this time, it's in fucking space, bro. So that is a big difference right there. I guess there's already sci-fi shit in those other ones, but there's like gravity boots, which I love. Not lightsabers, called like pulse blades. Cool. Pulse armor, not Dune. Nope. That's a bad voice crack. And, these types of stories always start out with the main character pretty much like at the bottom in the worst conditions possible. And Katniss is pretty low, but Darrow is like, both physically and metaphorically like bottom. It like literally cannot get fucking any worse or low than it is right now. And then it like within like 20 to 50 pages, it fucking does. It gets terrible for him, all because of this governmental body that rules over them. Which immediately you're just like, fuck these fucking idiots. Fuck this fucking gold piece of shit. You can immediately relate to the plot so much because of that. It's so easy to hate these people. And then Darrow is such a good protagonist because he's like his whole like motivator after like the first act and after the inciting incidents is just anger. Like he has basically nothing to lose now. It is just fucking raw fury. And because it's so easy to just like non-discriminately hate, I guess very discriminately hate the golds, you're like, fuck yeah, Darrow, fucking kill them all, and you're like that pretty much, the whole time. Like there are a lot of nuances that go into it, but you're kind of on his side, like fuck them, kill them all. But yeah, and then it like as he's thrust into this role of leadership, he starts realizing, it can't always be that. It can't always be murder, slaughter. I have to be a ruler. If I want my main overarching mission, the toppling of this government, to succeed, I have to start thinking selflessly, which means I can't throw away my life because my life is necessary. And it gets into themes of punishment, law and order, all this kind of stuff that just flows into Darrow's character so well because he's developing. I mean, he starts out this story like really young, so he's developing into like the leader that the whole world like needs him to be, and the way that that's happening is so interesting because he's still like completely ruthless by the end, but it's in this way that's like he focuses his anger and his fury and his righteousness into one direction, and you see it like start to thrash everything in front of him. And there's something so satisfying about that. Like Pierce Brown lets you feel the anger of this main character while still like using it in good terms. Like it's not a message of like, it is a message of be careful with what you're angry in, but you could still be pissed off, and that's very satisfying to read because Darrow is fucking awesome. The prose itself reflects this really well too because all the sentences a lot of the time are just like really bite-sized, single clause, rapid sentences. It'll be like, I'm sad, very sad. I looked at the picture and it made me cry. And those are all like 5 different sentences, and it like really punctuate how like manic and overwhelmed he is sometimes, where he's just like looking from place to place, like trying to make the right decision all the time. And the stakes raise so high so quickly that it really like it sets that feeling into the reader too, and I think that's super efficient. And it's very simple prose. It's not like super extravagant. There's not that many descriptions because it's all kind of there in front of you. You can picture it with just a few lines. So it's super efficient and just like almost stream of consciousness. You can just put your eyes to the first word and just fly through the entire book in like a sitting. And that's not to say that all the other characters aren't, equally deep or complex. Like a lot, I mean, I really never tired of reading any of the other characters and their interactions with Darrow. But Darrow is the spotlight. Like so much shit in this story happens because he does it. So many people act the way they do because of how they interact with him, and I think that is also satisfying. Like I feel like when I read Hunger Games, and I haven't read in a long time, Katniss goes to the Hunger Games and she does very well, but then like I feel like the final message is like, no matter what you do, there's you're a lower class, like you can't do anything. But Darrow shows up, like he uses the lessons he learned as the bottom class and just fucking wipes the board. And that's just like, so satisfying, so fun to read. As for the setting itself, it is sci-fi. On the whole, like technology-wise, it's not that unique, but I don't think it really needs to be. I like the lore. I like the dynamics between all the colors. Really works well for the story that it's trying to tell. I think it makes it simple. It's literally color-coded classes. Like you can't make it. You hear a class and you're like, oh, okay. And then they make like funny puns and jokes. I mean, funny. It is as close to racism as you can be without being racism, but it is like, it's interesting. It's creative riffs on like the colors. Like grays are called tin pots. Lower class golds are called bronzes. It's just cool. I think doing that really fleshes it out and makes it feel real. I will say pretty much my only problem with the book, like in a broad sense, is that it has this interesting setting. I mean, it's on fucking Mars. It's on a different planet. But then like after the first like probably fourth of the book, it's just Earth. Like not only is it a valley and fucking and a forest and snowy mountains and shit, which are just obviously can't be on Mars in real life. It also just has Earth's gravity. Like they describe it as like, oh, it has been set to Earth's gravity. It's like they could have just stepped on a teleporter and fucking blinked to Earth, and I wouldn't question it. And it's not really a deterrent on the story. There was a number of time where I really looked and was like, I just wish this was Mars. It just seems like a really missed opportunity. Like Hunger Games is already set in like a nature foresty setting, and then this is just almost it's just the same thing. I mean, there's like if I remember correctly, there's like big trees at a part. That's pretty sweet. Big ass fucking trees. That's pretty cool. I mean, there's stuff that they do, but it's just nothing is unique to Mars or space in the setting itself. Like there's technology obviously that is there, but the setting itself is just Earth. And I think that in the future entries, which I am absolutely planning on reading, we'll get more of that. Like I'm sure they're describing like space fleets and fucking space armadas. I think there's gonna be space fights, and I'm down for that. And that's sci-fi. But I mean, other than that, this book rocked. It's not long. I think it's 130k words. It's 380 pages. So it's like very brisk, constantly moving. Great characters, great writing, awesome world, and it really works well as the start of a fucking trilogy. I know there's like 5 books or whatever, but it's the start of a story that also works so well as like, it's not a standalone, but it works really well as like its own tale in this set of stories. Like I think I would not, if I've read this whole series, I would not mind going back and just reading this one for the story that it tells. It rocks. Definitely recommend it. I don't know. I'm thinking like fucking. I feel like 8.5 just tastes right to me. Like none of the characters were like, other than Darrow, none of the characters were like fucking amazing that I'll remember forever. The setting itself was like, it was cool, but it wasn't anything super ridiculously special. The lore is kind of the same. Like it's all very, very good. I wouldn't necessarily call it like fucking peak. And the prose also is just like, does the job and it does it very well, but it's never like pushing the boundaries of like he's doing this new shit or he does action exceptionally well or anything like that. He just does everything well. So I think 8.5 is pretty fair. 8.5 leaning towards 9, but not 9. So like 8.7, 8.75. Read it though.